All right, so we've been having so much fun with 3D postcards. Why not one more to add to your bag of tricks? And that is creating simple 3D reflections. Now, you often see this like with a magazine or even a screen grab of a web page, and they'll put it in an environment where it looks like it's sitting on a surface and then we're being reflected on that surface as well. But in order to do that in the past, you would have had to, distort your object, then make a duplicate layer, flip it, and then do all that, do the manual reflection and everything like that. It was just a giant pain and involved a lot of steps. And then sometimes it looked good, sometimes it didn't. It really depended. But now you can do it completely accurate, really quickly using 3D in Photoshop. Have a look. So here I've got a screen grab of Planet Photoshop, and what I want to do is put it on this black background and make it look like it's sitting on a surface with a reflection and everything like that, almost like a product spotlight in a sense. So I'm going to go into and make sure the layer is selected. We're going to go to the 3D menu here and go to New Mesh from Layer and choose Postcard. Goes ahead and puts it in the 3D environment. I'm going to go ahead and grab that layer and drag it to my target document where I want to have the reflection applied. Go ahead and minimize that. Now I'm going to go ahead and select current view in my 3D panel. So I'm modifying the camera. And I'm going to go ahead and get the 3D slide tool, which is the the fourth tool over here in the options bar as far as the 3D tools go. And you're going to click on the canvas and drag up, and that's going to push the object back in space. You're essentially creating more distance between the camera and the object, which is why it looks like it's getting smaller. It's essentially just moving back or further away from the camera. Well, in reality, you're actually moving the camera back further away. But anyway, it's in the 3D environment, so we pushed it back so we can see it in there. Now, we're going to go and select the environment property in the 3D panel, and then go down to the ground plane settings here, and you'll see where it says the reflections. So I'm going to go ahead and set the reflection opacity to 50, well, let's go like 65. So there you can immediately see the reflection right on the surface. Now, if I go and grab my current view again, you can see I can move it around, and I can see that surface. As long as you're staying above the ground plane, you can see that. And that's why it disappears, because I'm going below the ground plane as my angle. But as long as you can see the ground plane, you can see that reflection on the object there. And it's immediately given me kind of a mirrored reflection, even though it's dialed down as far as the intensity or the opacity of it. It's still basically a mirrored reflection at this point. But what if you wanted to have it where it's kind of fading as it goes further down? You get to see, you see those surface reflections where it's really kind of sharp as it gets close to the object, but as it recedes away, it gets a little bit softer and softer. Well, that is what this roughness setting is here, just below the reflection opacity. Now, if I set that to about 15, you see it already gets a little grainy. But if I go and do a render on the object, and there you can see it gives me that kind of grainy look at first, and then with each pass it's going to get softer and softer and gives me a little bit better reflection there. But the beauty is, of course, that I can go in and move that object around and get a different reflection. Now, what I want to do to get a more dramatic angle is I'm going to make the lens a little bit wider by dropping it to around 15. And then let's just bring that closer. So we're getting a much more dramatic angle on it, more wider angle, but I can pretty much go to any angle and the reflection is going to stay with the object as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, if I wanted to do it on a white background, just simply invert the background from white to black, and the reflection is still there. So I can move it around and go in here and adjust it if I want to go in here. And let's go ahead and bring the opacity of the reflection down, perhaps even bring the roughness down a little bit. You can also go in here and change the color, and if you wanted it to be a little bit lighter, or even to introduce a color into it, you can do that here. But if you want to keep the reflection as it is, just go ahead and leave it set to white. But if you wanted to add a tinge of color to it or darken it, you can do that by just introducing a little bit of color there. But I'm going to leave it at white. So again, you can just move this around and position it anywhere you want, and let's move it back a little bit. And when you're ready, just do a render. I'm just going to press Shift Option Command R, and it's going to go ahead and render the object, and I'm going to have that reflection ready to go anytime I need it. So it's really quickly and easily just a matter of finding your two-dimensional image, putting it in the two-dimensional space using a 3D postcard. It automatically is sitting on that ground plane. It's just a matter of activating the reflection and how much of the reflection you want to see, position it, and you're done. And the beauty is, if you do it and you render it and it looks great, or maybe they want to make a change or you don't like it or something like that, you don't have to go back and start over again like you would have had to in the past. Just go in here, grab your 3D tool, change your angle, Change your background color if you want. Let's go ahead and make it kind of a blue. Actually, no, I'll do this one a little effect. If I make it black again, here's kind of a cool little thing you can do. If I wanted to have more, look like there's a light effect in the background, just go and create a new blank layer. And let's make a horizon element there. And let's put a color back there. Let's kind of a light blue. And let's do it as a gradient. I've got my radial gradient tool selected here, so let's add a gradient to the background there. And there, that gives me a horizon line as well as a color element in the background. And then if I do a quick render, I've got this really kind of slick looking banner ad or whatever you want it to be, utilizing that 3D feature and creating a simple reflection in no time.